I'm still having a hard time talking about Johnny Hendricks, this early in a card, so to speak. But here we have it, fighting in his hometown once again, taking on Matt Brown. Somebody asked me earlier this week, what do you think about Matt Brown? This guy's got a puncher's chance. I think this is almost the definition of that, isn't it? Matt Brown's got a puncher's chance, but I look at this fight stylistically, and it seems like a bad matchup. You're the numbers expert here, so you can correct me if I'm wrong here. But Matt Brown's defensive skills aren't very good. I mean, the guy gets punished a lot. I really don't see, if Johnny Hendricks. I think Johnny Hendricks can do what he wants. If he wants to take him down, he can take him down, and if he wants to stand and bang, I think he can pick him apart. I think it's a bad matchup for Matt Brown.
Well, it could be. Now, Matt Brown hung for 5 rounds with Robbie Lawler, and I think Robbie Lawler is the bigger threat compared to Johnny Hendricks. We have a 7-inch reach differential here favoring Matt Brown. Hendricks has always been undersized. He's a southpaw. He packs a lot of power, but he hasn't really been using his wrestling very much lately. And if he chooses to simply stand and trade with Matt Brown is actually pretty accurate. His defense is, I think, underrated maybe. He's taken some body blow type knockdowns recently, which is surprising, but he's actually pretty good on paper. So when I see 3-1 odds on Hendricks, I get a little nervous because this is a 3-round fight. Matt Brown could easily steal a round or 2 on the cards. And I think there might be value on the dog here. We'll see where the line ends up, but this is a dangerous fight for Hendricks simply because of that range and because Matt Brown is pretty durable. Now, speaking of durability, Johnny Hendricks has taken 318 head strikes to date. He has never been knocked down. Only BJ Penn has proven to be more durable than Johnny Hendricks. So you could look at it, either his time is up and he's due, or, listen, this guy can take a beating and keep on coming, and he's going to need to against a guy like Matt Brown, and maybe he just overwhelms him with better conditioning. But this is another fight that I think is very dangerous given where the odds are.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a tricky card. It's one of these deals where I like a guy, but I don't want to lay the odds. And I completely agree with you. But I'm comfortable with Hendricks. I think he's going to win this fight. The thing with Hendricks, too, I'm of the belief here, and this is just my own opinion and speculation, but I just think he was a little bit mentally taxed. He was a little bit gassed. He was just emotionally broken down, and I've seen this before with other fighters, and he's still obsessed with it. If you ask him about GSP, I want to fight GSP. It's one of these deals where I think it consumed him so much, and then boom, and then he's fighting Robbie Lawler, and then he's fighting Robbie Lawler again. He's coming off the surgery. I think we're going to see a refreshed Johnny Hendricks on Saturday. The last Lawler fight was December the 6th. So, it's been, I think we're going to see a refreshed Hendricks here. Looking at the photos, I know he was posting some stuff, and I don't like buying in on how a guy's abs look, but Hendricks looks pretty ripped, and he's been saying that this weight cut has been a breeze for him.
Well, that's good, because I definitely think that was a factor in his last fight against Lawler. He just didn't have the same pop. And if we see him fit, we see him aggressive, he is such a skilled and talented guy that you're right, this should be his fight to walk through. But, again, lots of uncertainty and risk there.
All right, we only got 2 minutes, unfortunately, here, Reed. So not to shortchange the women's fight, but I don't imagine you have a ton of data as far as these two fighters are concerned. One thing that catches my eye here is Esparza. I took her against Rose in the final, and she got it done. And she doesn't get a lot of mainstream respect, and I hate to say it because, you look at the Paige Van Zandt chick. She loses, and she signs a deal with Reebok. Esparza is the champ, and no one wants to give her the time of day. I'm going to take a shot with the champ here. Quickly on that, your numbers tell you anything before we get to the main event?
Well, it's probably a striker-grappler matchup in the co-main event, and I do like Esparza. I think her wrestling is what sets her apart, and that's what probably wins it this weekend. Yeah, no,
she's got, people talk about good wrestling. She's got good MMA wrestling, doesn't she, Reed? She comes in, she doesn't telegraph her shoots. She gets in there, and if it's not going to work, she's very good at landing a couple of shots. I like her game. There's something about this girl. She's got a chip on her shoulder because she doesn't think that she gets any respect, and she's starting to bitch about it right now publicly. All right, finally in closing, Pettis and Dos Anjos. Dos Anjos finally gets a shot. I thought this guy was kind of championship worthy for a while, but it's the UFC's worst nightmare if this guy actually becomes a champion, but I don't think he will.
Yeah, and I agree. I think Pettis is just on a different level with his striking. It is absolutely amazing. I mean, he's powerful, he's accurate, he's able to control the cage, and he's hard to hit. And Dos Anjos is going to have to come forward and take his licks, and you just can't do that against Pettis. So either Dos Anjos turns this into a grinder and tries to wrestle Pettis, because that's the only way to neutralize that threat, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think Pettis finds a home for his strikes eventually and probably gets a finish before the end.
And, as you just stated, too, and we'll close it with this as far as Pettis is concerned, his fights, they're not like barn burners, right? Because like you said, he doesn't like to get hit. He wants to keep the pretty face intact. He doesn't like to get hit, and he's pretty good at not getting hit, and he's very patient, but then when he does something, it's freaking electric, Reed, man. It's just awesome.
He's Showtime. We'll see if he lives up to the reputation.
Well, he has in the past, and I've been a doubter of his. I just like to see him fight more. This is only his second title defense. Hard to believe. Since 2013 when he won the belt. Always a pleasure. Check out Reed, twitter.com, Fightnomics. Reed, always a pleasure, my man.
Yeah, absolutely. Enjoy the fights.
There's Reed Kuhn with us. We'll take a quick break. Robin Black will join me in studio. We'll talk some fantasy MMA. Countermove time. $500 free roll is open for business, but is filling up fast. MMA Meltdown continues.